Hi, I am Dr. Sridhar Kalyanasundaram, consultant neonatologist. Welcome to my channel. We have had a few interesting discussions on various topics, and today I would like to discuss the chemistry of maternal love. So it may sound cliched, but obviously nothing will match a mother's love for her baby. And if you ask anyone in any country of the world, wherever they are from, probably even aliens, if you ask them what is the purest form of love, they would say it's a mother's love for her baby. So why is it so unique, and what makes it work this way? So I have read up a bit on this, and it's very interesting, the evolution of maternal love. It was my mother's 75th birthday recently. Happy birthday, Mom. I hope you live a long and healthy life. We were very thankful for whatever you have done for us, and the same applies to any child. We all love our mother, but the mother's love is much more than the love we share for our own mother. And when you look as a pediatrician, we always look at the sacrifices a mother makes. So right from the time she gets pregnant, she has severe morning sickness, she has to tolerate it, she is having severe reflux, she has bone pain, she can't lie down and breathe comfortably. So pregnancy, as it progresses, she faces so many ordeals. However, she tolerates everything for the baby's sake. Labor is designed to be a very painful process. Of course, some of us go for cesarean deliveries, but as far as possible, natural births are better. The labor process is very painful, and even if you go through a cesarean, it's not any less painful, and it leaves a scar on you, and you have to go through the recovery phase. Breastfeeding is challenging as well. It doesn't come that naturally anymore, and you have to get supported. It hurts you. The baby keeps sucking on your breast, the skin cracks, the nipple crack happens, it's painful, the breast engorgement happens, you have to work through all that. You don't get to sleep at all in the first week to 10 days, and you're still able to cope. You come out of it and you look at all the memories as saying it's a very positive feeling. So sacrifices that the mother makes as a child grows up is not comparable to anything else you would make. So a mother would not think twice about jumping into the water to save her child, or push herself at danger. She may fall in front of a vehicle to save the child, and so on. I mean, while many of us would think the other way around. I have many anecdotes from my childhood as well, when we have exams and we have different times we set our alarms. My sister keeps it at say 4 a.m. I keep it at 5 a.m. and for both of us, my mother wakes up and ensures that we get up because we are lazy. We have to be poked to get up. I mean, if it was my dad, he would just switch off the alarm and say, go to sleep, don't disturb my sleep. And when it comes to my children as well, the commitment that my wife shows to their progress is much more than what I would show. I do want them to do well, but it's not in the behavioral pattern that males are selfish compared to women when it comes to their children's progress. And you put your interests as well ahead of you, while women have that nature that they can suppress their own desires, suppress their own interests, focus purely on their children's well-being. This starts right from pregnancy till the child leaves home, and probably even beyond that. And this is probably one of the reasons, in my view, of marital conflicts where the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law don't get together, because the daughter-in-law realizes that the mother has a lifelong bond and she is caring about her son, and that conflict happens. So I think women have to understand that the mother of the husband is also a woman, and they will go through the same thing with their own child as well. So this is something, of course, off the cuff, so don't quote me on that. And regarding the chemistry of it, obviously genetics is there and epigenetics is there. So we have genetics where this instinct is ingrained into the genes, and then the epigenetics is where factors after the exposure happens. So we have the hormonal factors mainly. We have prolactin and we have oxytocin. So and we also have the surge of opioid hormones. So for example, oxytocin encourages bonding, so it sensitizes the mother to the baby's cry. it sensitizes the milk production and release, and the prolactin makes the milk synthesis. At the same time, it also is the epigenetic factor behind many of these changes where the mother's genes, the carrying genes, are expressed. So you might notice a difference between your son and daughter in the way they care for their doll or the way they react when you are hurt. So this empathy, this caring and responding nature is genetic, and when the baby, when the pregnancy starts, your prolactin level may start changing, estrogen, progesterone levels are changing, and after delivery, oxytocin is the same hormone that causes the uterus to contract to expel the baby, and then the oxytocin is the same hormone that allows the milk let down. So these two hormones have a huge role to play in priming the mother to respond, and the opioid surge that they have with the breastfeeding, the satisfaction, the different stress hormones they have released around the time of delivery helps them cope over the delivery, post-delivery phase. So the male who is losing his sleep is extremely tired, but the woman who is losing her sleep in that phase is still able to look after her child in a safe way. So some of them may be under the effect of medication, that is different when they are unable to cope and they need additional support. But if they are not under medication, they are able to tide over this phase, and actually this helps babies' initial emotional response is linked to the mother's reaction to them. So when the mother is looking at the baby's cues and attending to it immediately, the baby looks at the mother during the breastfeeding when you're bonding with the baby, and this creates a big surge of opioid hormones. So obviously this opioid surge is going to suppress any pain or tiredness that the mother feels. It gives them more energy, and of course the baby feels satisfied. This contentment progresses to the next level of attachment. So the cue transfer, the attachment theory, is where the baby and the mother reach a balance in attending to each other's cues. If the mother is able to reciprocate appropriately, you don't face too much of colic and other issues. The feeding doesn't go to a stage of overfeeding. You go on cues of the baby, you can realize when the baby is hungry. Of course, a little bit of comfort feeding also happens. So direct breastfeeding is the best if you can go for it, and start priming yourself during the pregnancy itself, so you are more prepared for it and you don't get any problems. Of course, the first 2 to 3 days, especially if it's your first baby, it needs more support, so be ready for stimulating the breast. For example, in addition to the baby latching, you may stimulate by expressing, but over time work towards more natural ways of feeding. Express milk by bottle is good, but it's not the same as direct feeding. So these hormonal responses that I described are much better with direct feeding, and the baby's own bonding, the baby's expectations, these are met better if you learn to look at the baby's cues and attend to it in an appropriate way. So it's a very interesting topic. Obviously, I'm not the expert on psychology or psychoanalysis, but I found it interesting that a mother's love is the way it is because of various factors that are inbuilt into the female genome, and obviously males can support this process. So if you are the husband and your wife has just delivered, understand that she is going through a lot of strain and support her as best as you can. Support her breastfeeding, do other chores in the home so she is spared, try to get help, and always give positive words of appreciation. So even if you are tired from your work, you try to spend a little time. So this is my little word of advice, and of course salute to all the mothers in the world. Nothing will equal you. And again, happy birthday to my mother, 75th birthday. It's a big number, and I'm very proud of you, and I'm very happy for all that you have done, and I'm very proud of my wife as well for all the sacrifices she has done for my children. Thank you.